Welcome back, guys, for another Gamebug review. This time I'm going to be talking about WWE 2K19 from a rainy evening here in Sydney, Australia. Now, everyone knows, or at least you should know by now, that I'm a big, massive wrestling mark. I love wrestling. I love New Japan, I love WWE, NXT, Impact, Ring of Honor, all of it. Love all of it. Australian wrestling is good too. So, getting that out of the way, I'm going to try and not be biased. And also, I'm going to try not to be too harsh as well. So, jumping in, if you've ever played a WWE 2K game, you pretty much know what to expect. The controls, fairly similar, but I'm just going to start off with we usually start off with concept story. So in this regard, they've brought back the showcase mode, and this is cool because there's cutscenes with Daniel Bryan actually talking about the matches and where he was at in his career, and then you sort of do the match after he gives like a little introduction to it. It's really well presented, and I always love these. The only annoying thing is there's situations where you purposely get damaged and someone, for example, there's a match with Randy Orton and you have to kick out of a pin. So it forces you to do that. It's really hard to kick out a pin sometimes. And by that point that you get to it, you've been playing a match for like 25 minutes. There's no checkpoints. So if you fail this one little thing, you got to start all over again. I failed it 3 times in a row and I just got sick of it. This is a stupid thing to have. If you're going to be forced to get pinned, the kick out window should be a big window, considering it's part of the thing that you have to do. There's scripted sequences anyway. So showcase mode, it's good, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done in addressing these, at least checkpoints, or giving you a better kick out window, because you're there for the story. You're not really there for a match, because it's not a normal match, because you have to do what it says to mark off these objectives, and then it puts you in situations where you get hurt anyway. So I don't know, it's a weird little thing. There's also the My Player mode, where you basically create your own character and you rise through the ranks of like the indies, and then you actually, that's a spoiler, so I won't say, but you rise your ranks and you get into WWE, blah, blah, blah. This time it's fully voice acted. The guy doing the voice acting is actually pretty good. All the superstars are voice acted by the actual wrestlers. It's leaps and bounds of an improvement over the last year's entry. I've actually been really engaged playing this My Player mode. It's actually really fun. So that's a positive. So, the showcase mode, a little bit of a misstep, just in terms of like the actual gameplay. But the My Player game mode, the story mode, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's cheesy. It's got its corny moments, but it's wrestling. That's what they're known for. So it's really fun, and I think everyone should check it out. All right, there's so many modes, so I'm going to have to go through a lot of these. So let's jump onto the visuals. Visually, I mean, okay, when you're doing the My Player mode, the creator character and some of the generic arenas look a bit dodgy. Some of the backstage environments don't look that great, but the characters themselves, the actual wrestlers, the lighting effects when you come out in your entrance look fantastic. They look so damn accurate. The faces look amazing. A lot of previous entries, some of the faces and the shadows have made them look a bit odd, but they really nailed it here, and I'll give them really good props for that. The titles look really well made. The arenas are great. The crowd look amazing, and they react. Like, for example, Ty Dillinger, they're all doing the little hand gestures of 10. It's really well done. So visually, it's never looked better. What else have we got? So yeah, that's the graphics side of thing. Sorry, there's just so much stuff in this game, so I'm trying to cover everything. So moving on to gameplay. So you've also got 2K Towers mode, which is sort of like if you ever played a fighting game, like an arcade mode, where you battle through, a prerequisite amount of people, and then, you win some. At the end of this, you win some points that you can use to unlock different characters, different costumes, not for the wrestlers, like different items and stuff that you can use for your creator character. You can unlock different arenas, different titles, all different stuff. There's a wealth of unlockables in this game, and something that a lot of fighting games are lacking is they always just give you all the characters to start off with. So there's nothing to really work for. Whereas this game, there's always something you're working towards, whether it's a new character or another title or a different arena. I find it gets you playing a lot more, which is great. So yeah, you've got the tower modes, which is kind of like an arcade mode. You've got your showcase mode. You've got your my player mode. You've got the WWE Universe mode, where you can basically simulate matches. You can play as many of them as you want, and it does like a weekly Raw, SmackDown. Then it goes into a pay-per-view, and you can sort of adjust the matches and try and see where the rivalries go and stuff. It's kind of like a management mode. You've got all the creator stuff. You've got creator superstar, moveset, entrance, championship, show, arena, video, victory, a money in the bank. There's a whole lot of stuff you can create. Creating your superstars has always been one of the best things in these games. And, doing the entrance and making your own championship and your arena and stuff like that. Great stuff. So gameplay-wise, in that regard, there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of match types. Trying to think if there was anything new. They've revamped like Hell in a Cell. I think it plays a lot better. They've tweaked a bit of submissions and stuff. They give you the option whether you want to use the sticks or buttons. So little tweaks like that make it feel a bit more user-friendly and a bit more authentic. Now, I will say, though, that it's still glitchy. I mean, you might be trying to attack someone and you start attacking someone else. You may try to run at your opponent and they automatically start running in the wrong direction. It's still very finicky. The timing of the reversals, it's hard to sometimes get that perfect. It's still slow paced. So if you're coming from playing like SmackDown versus Raw and you've never played these new titles, you're going to be like, wow, this is so slow. And why have they ruined this game? Because back then, I feel like the animations were better. I feel like the actual controlling of the character was a lot tighter. It was more fast-paced. It was more action-orientated. It was just more fun. It was definitely more fun. So these new games are more simulation. It's supposed to look and feel like a real wrestling match. But, I don't know. It's just too slow. It's like, I would rather just watch wrestling than have to play this all the time. I mean, it is fun when you're playing with multiple people. But yeah, it's better. It's definitely better playing online against someone else or a friend. But it just can get a bit annoying when you've gone to hit something and it's just not done what you've wanted it to do. You go to pick up an item and it just doesn't pick it up, or, just stupid things like that. There's a lot of buttons to remember in these games. So I feel like gameplay it hasn't come ahead in the leaps and bounds that I feel like it really needs to. It's pretty much still the same. Now you've got all your online modes, just your regular play. You've got WWE Live, which, again, I haven't really touched the multiplayer side of things, especially when, trying to review this early. There's not many people to play against, blah, blah, blah. But I will say that the best thing about having these games that are being able to go online is to download custom characters, because you can download wrestlers, new attires that people have made. You can download wrestlers that, no longer with us. You can download wrestlers from other organizations, and for the most part, these creators on there make fantastic models, and they look really well done. So I really feel like the online aspect of being able to download extra characters, it gives you so much more bang for your buck, I would say, because although you might have to wait a year for the newest entry to come out, you can download all the updated wrestlers, like all the wrestlers that are coming out or who have started since you bought the game, if they're not already there. Also, being able to download like Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and stuff like that, Tessa Blanchard, Penta, all those sort of things. That it's all fantastic to be able to do that. You can also download custom arenas and championships. move sets and stuff like that. So just a wealth of content there. And so that would lead me into the awesomeness section. I'll come back to sound in a minute. So the awesomeness section, there's a wealth to do in this. There's always stuff. You really do get your money's worth with these games. I do wish the gameplay was a bit more tighter, but you really do get your money's worth in terms of content. And, basically it future-proofing itself by letting you download, custom characters and attires and tweaking them to your own liking, basically. So let's go on to sound, though. So the entrance music is great. The crowd reactions are great. The announcers, it's not bad. Like it's been pretty bad in some of the entries, but it's pretty good in this one. And as I said in the My Player mode, the voice acting is pretty good. It's a bit cheesy, but it's well done, and it's nice having the actual wrestlers do their own voiceover. But the only thing that I have a problem with, now wrestling is very loud. When you hear a slam in the ring, it sounds like an explosion. When they do a knee to the face, they slap the inside of the thigh and it gives that real hard slap sound. None of that's in this game. You hit someone in this game and it just sort of sounds like a little dust has flown off their shoulder. Like it barely sounds like you're hitting them. Slamming them on the mat sounds a little bit louder, but I don't know. There's just no real emphasis when you hit them. Like, I feel like the sound design has gone downhill from back in those SmackDown vs. Raw games. Like, they felt like when you hit them, you hit them. When you do a finisher in this game, it's so uneventful. You might get a replay camera cut, but it just looks like you've done a regular move. Whereas back in the old games, it sounded like you slammed the crap out of them. They would do like the slow-mo. They would really emphasize that finishing move, because that's what it is in wrestling. When you see someone do their finisher, it's a big deal. It's not just like, oh, look, he's done an RKO. Like, wow. It's a really big, impactful move. And they need to highlight that. They need to have the sound design match up. They need the hard hits. They need stuff like that to make it feel like it's a real fight, instead of just like them brushing their hands against each other. So that's my real complaint, is the sound design in that regard. But overall, I mean, it's definitely a big improvement over last year. I mean, you get the showcase mode again, which is really well done, despite the gameplay flaws. And the My Player mode is leaps and bounds ahead. So this is definitely a much, 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 much better entry than last year. So I commend them on that. I just want to see some gameplay changes. I want to have an arcade mode. If they can just have a mode where like the hits are louder and the sound design's better and like it's a bit more over the top, just for a fun match type. Even if it's just for a singles match, I'd love it. If you ever played WWE All-Stars, like, it doesn't need to be that extreme, but let's be honest, that game was friggin' fun because it was just so crazy. But just, I don't know, make it more exciting. We don't want a simulation. If we want to watch wrestling, we'll watch wrestling. We want to play it. We want it to be over the top. We want it to be crazy. And that's what I want in next year's edition. So hopefully 2K20, I mean, it sounds like a big event, so they need to up their game. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening to this review. If you want to see the full score, go over to our website, www.gamebug.com.au. Also, check us out on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can just search Gamebugau. And yeah, thanks for checking us out, guys. Bye.